When did it all start?
Well, in February of 1981, we rented a motorhome and went up to Palomar Mountain to go camping. We got up there on a Friday night, and that evening we stayed in the Doan Pond area rather than going and finding a campsite and setting up because it was dark when we got there. So Saturday morning, we got up and went out. The kids did a little bit of fishing in Doan Pond, and then we set up our camp. We went out with the boys and hiked a bit and pointed things out, looked at the trees, looked at the birds, looked at the squirrels, and then we came back and I was getting ready to fix lunch. Robbie had seen a fallen tree that he thought would be fun for the boys to play on. So he and Jimmy and Jeff went out to play, and they were gone a little longer than we expected. So finally, Robbie and Jeff came running back to camp, and we said, "Where's Jimmy?" And Robbie said, "Oh, we were racing back to camp." And they came back out of breath and laughing, and my husband said, "Where's Jimmy?" And Robbie said, "Well, we were playing off that way." So my husband went out and started searching immediately. He searched for half an hour, calling his name. And he came back, and we both went out and started searching, and we agreed that at the end of that half hour, if one of us was not back, that I would go and notify the ranger. So that's what happened. We both went out and searched, calling his name, and left Robbie and Jeffrey at the campsite. So I went and notified the ranger, and it was a volunteer that was in the office, and she took the initial information. And then about a half an hour later, the ranger showed up at the campsite, started taking more information, notified the resident deputy, and the resident deputy then came another almost an hour later and took more information. So by this time the day was wearing on. It had started out to be a very sunny, beautiful February day. It was cool, but it was warm in the sunshine, and there were even a few patches of snow in the shady areas. The resident deputy came, took information, and then it took time for things to slowly swing into gear and get organized. By the time searchers started arriving, there really wasn't a lot of daylight left. And the helicopter, I believe, went up for maybe a half an hour or so. They weren't really able to do much searching that evening. So as daybreak came, more and more people started arriving, and that was Sunday morning. And we all know how long it takes for a search to get really organized and underway. At church Sunday morning, our pastor mentioned Jimmy and our family in the prayers, and after church, people started showing up. And also, there was more news coverage starting to be disseminated at that point. People that we worked with started showing up, and both civilian and law enforcement personnel. And the search became more organized.
Austria 2, you moving towards the CP?
I'm heading towards the CP right now.
Okay, we want to head towards Scotty's cabin.
It's just very treacherous right now. It's very steep. It's got a lot of granite falls to it. It's got a lot of drop-offs to it. It's just a very treacherous area.
As more people arrived, they were trying to send out teams to do the searching, because it wasn't just search and rescue personnel. It was a lot of other people that wanted to help.
How many total searchers do you think there were?
Ultimately, there were over 400. There were 200 Marines involved in the search that came from Camp Pendleton. The weather turned bad. It started to rain, it got foggy, it was a torrential downpour at times. We were there in the motorhome, and we could see people out there searching, we could hear people out there searching.
A storm front moved in, dropping temperatures to near freezing and dumping heavy rain on searchers. Rain became so heavy in the Dones Pond area, where sheriff deputies had set up a command post, that the search helicopters were forced to go back to San Diego. Where helicopters and ground searchers fell short, it was hoped a tracking dog would succeed. Late today, a hound was put to work picking up the scent at a place where the youngster was last seen. And for a time, searchers thought they may be close. But as of tonight, James Beveridge has not been found.
The search continued. Part of the problem with the search, too, I don't know if you were aware of this, on Sunday, Jeffrey's godfather came into San Diego. He had been out of town, and as he was driving back to San Diego, heard the information on the radio. And he came directly to the mountain. He set out on his own, and about midnight, we realized Rick was overdue. He should have been back.
Not all the rescue teams were looking for the 9-year-old. At least one crew was searching for a lost man, a friend of the family's who struck out on his own to find the boy. 44-year-old Eric Nell has not been seen since Sunday afternoon.
He was found on Friday the 13th, which he now considers his lucky day. We went to an area where I could overlook the Doan Pond area, and it looked like a movie set. There was this enormous tent set up down there, and a big military helicopter. And on Monday, children started arriving to go to to 6th grade camp. That was an area where the children had 6th grade camp. And one thing that stood out that I heard later on from someone involved in the search was one of the children said, "My parents would never spend that much money on me." And they thought that it was costing the parents, us, for this search to be going on. And so that's one thing that's so important about the Hug-A-Tree program, is for children to realize that their parents care and the people out there searching for them care. They had a line of about 100 searchers lined up on a ridge, and the fog was so thick that the searchers said they couldn't even see their nose in front of their face.
The fog is more of a problem really than the rain. It cuts down the visibility a lot.
What would you estimate your visibility was today?
About 30 to 40 yards.
It's not a whole lot for a search, is it?
No.
In the morning, one team discovered some footprints that were not washed away by rain. Expert Border Patrol tracker Ab Taylor was called in to pursue that lead, but a thorough search of the area brought nothing. Still, Taylor's instinct tells him the boy is on the move.
He will be moving, I feel. This is my guess, but prior experience, usually that age child, they are moving.
Ab finally came up. It was something that he couldn't just go and do on his own. He needed to be asked to do it for some reason. There was a protocol involved. And so Ab finally came up on the search. And Tom Jacobs, who wrote the script for Hug-A-Tree and shot all the original slides, hooked up with Ab. And Tom was there just because he loved the outdoors and wanted to try to help and was somewhat familiar with the area. So he teamed up with Ab, and as a direct result of that acquaintanceship, the Hug-A-Tree program was eventually born. Mostly I just worried, and I sat there and I didn't sleep. When Larry walked me to the point where I could overlook Doan Pond and it all seemed like a horrible dream, I knew I wasn't dreaming because I hadn't slept since Friday night. And I didn't sleep until Wednesday. And I just sat there and thought, what was he doing? What could he know? Did he know we were thinking about him? Did he know all this search was going on? Did he know all these people were looking for him and trying to help find him?
SO wants two things: confirmed identification, nothing disturbed.
Did
you get that?
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Armed identification, nothing disturbed, copy.
Jimmy was found on Wednesday morning. It was our wedding anniversary. And when they discovered his body, the search commander came and informed us. And there wasn't really a lot we were going to be able to do right there. And so my husband's parents took us back home. Many of the people involved in the search were close friends, and the volunteer people, all the search and rescue people, we didn't really know, up until that point, but certainly got to know a lot of them afterwards. And we just have the highest respect for search and rescue people.
Friends and family gathered at Our Redeemer Lutheran Church to remember and pray for 9-year-old Jim Beveridge. The boy became lost in the woods on Palomar Mountain February 7th during a family camping trip. That was a Saturday. His body was found Wednesday during an intense search. When the boy's family arrived, his parents and brothers, they were greeted with hugs and kisses and words of comfort. Approximately 300 people filled the church to hear the minister describe Jim Beveridge as a very active boy who was much loved by his family. People close to the family have started a survival fund in memory of Jim Beveridge.
We hope to establish a survival teaching team that will go out, hopefully, to the different campsites and teach young children between the ages of 5 and 12 the bare necessities of going into the woods on their own.
Even though details of the survival course haven't been worked out yet, $2,000 has already been donated. The biggest contribution will come from the Beveridges, who will donate money left over from their sons' insurance policies.